8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Who is the nerd mafia?
Flyers up all around his apartment complex. A social media group known as the Nerd Mafia pushed for these electronic billboards in Central Florida. Nerd Mafia.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Calling all units A211 at 675 Main. Backup needed.
Car 36 responding.
Suspect wanted for question.
Good afternoon and welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I don't know if this streaming life is for me. This is exhausting. Welcome back, Jay.
That's
It's been a long day. Fortunately, we're following this, and Eva's going to join us for the afternoon session. Let us know what's been going on with some other cases. We got the UN interjecting, the United Nations interjecting on a execution going down in Alabama, saying the form of execution is inhumane. So,
holy shit.
Just scrolling through news here. We're going to tune back into the Michelle Troconis trial. We have some games ready to go for your side and our side. We got Nancy Grace in the middle ready to dance and some prizes. You can pick your own design, but we're excited about that. We're going to get back to this
for
scene,
$17
skip
a
the
month.
ads, and get going.
What's the form of execution that the UN doesn't like?
I'm going to pull that up. I believe it's just wrote it. Damn it. Hold on. Actually, it's good because I want to browse the news real quick. Eva's jumping on. Let me add her to the stage. It's exciting. Jay got moved over there. I'm going to move him up there. All right. Making big boy moves. I'm going to mute for a second. Let me get you that information right quick.
Cool. What's up, everybody who's here? If you hit that like, greatly appreciated. Both streams, and subscribe if you're not already.
That's nitrogen gas. Hi, Eva.
Nitrogen gas. Wow, I've never even heard of that.
Good afternoon, everybody.
What's up?
We had a day yesterday. Yeah, I'll give the updated news. I know we have a couple seconds here. So yesterday, I know since you're like garbage child food diet, Coca-Cola has this place at Disney Springs. It's called The Flight, and you can choose all these different sort of teas and sodas from around the world. We actually enjoyed it. It was quite fun.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I saw my first dead shark yesterday too, but I'll show that to you later. Hold on, let me make this larger, and let me make sure this doesn't refresh every time like it was before. Refresh browser is now off. All right. What were you saying, Jay? Sorry.
No, I was asking Eva. She's going to be given the some of the updated court news.
I got it ready to go. I've been scouring all morning in between popping over and watching this. There's a lot going on today. Let's go ahead and do that now before they start court back. So first up, big talk of the day is Rex Heuermann was indicted for the murder of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. This really stood out to me, though. it was said that, they were waiting DNA testing for that, and they finally confirmed that one of the hairs found on the belt that was wrapped around her is confirmed that it's Asa Ellerup's hair. So that ties him to another victim. But this really stood out to me. They found credit card records in his storage unit. You remember they raided the storage unit, indicating an Atlantic City hotel charge 3 days before she went missing. And then it says the suspect's wife says she and the 2 children were in Atlantic City at the time the victim vanished. So another one where the wife and kids were out of town, and right around the same time that one of the victims went missing. And then something else noteworthy with that this morning was not only was Asa Ellerup in court for his indictment this morning, but also their daughter. And that was her first time at one of his hearings. So it seems like maybe a little bit more support. That the wife and kids didn't want anything to do with it at first, and now they're in court for him. It's kind of odd.
People are also mentioning on social media that the charges differ from the 3 originally, that it's second-degree manslaughter, right? Do we know why?
I don't know why, but I noticed that too. And I noticed others talking about it. But yeah, the charges are slightly different.
It's a good question, Nancy. I was wondering if Netflix was there too, if they had camera people with them.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. Let's see. Who else? Next up was Adam Montgomery, who couldn't be bothered. Couldn't be bothered to leave his cell this morning. From what it says in this article, though, he flat out refused to be transported to the hearing. So this definitely odd. The motion that was filed was to split his charges for the trial. So he's got assault charges and then was later arrested for the murder charge. And at first, it seems that both sides were in agreement to join the charges into a single trial. The defense attorneys are now saying they've got new information that makes them want to not join the trials together. Right here in the article, it says, the prosecution says, we really take umbrage with the idea that this is new information with regards to the motion to join, but whether or not the defendant has a right to withdraw his motion for joinder, I think that he does. So the state attorney is basically saying, look, we don't want him to, but he can. So the judge is going to rule on that, but said she doesn't know whether or not there will be another hearing needed before jury selection. Jury selection is slated to begin February 6th. So it's either going to start one way or the other.
Defense Darius, who joined us yesterday, tweeted out, well, the beginning of it says turd alert, but we can skip that. Alleged serial killer Rex Heuermann has been indicted for the homicide of Maureen Brainard Barnes by way of superseding
If you
indictment.
live in Florida and
Damn
you
it.
don't know this, you're probably overpaying for car insurance.
Stop telling me that you need to stay with your car insurance company longer to...
Oop. We'll get back to that. Remind us to come back to that, Eva, if you will. We're going to tune in back to the Troconis trial.
Here we go.
So is Detective Riley still on the stand?
He is, Your Honor.
We can bring him in now, and then we will bring the jury in.
So much Ladybird.
It's cold. It's cold there in Connecticut. She's got a jacket on.
Yeah, you were really hoping this morning that court was going to be canceled due to weather, because we were snuggled up cozy in bed and there was a thunderstorm and we really just we were crossing our fingers.
It was more. I wanted to do the stream. I don't like mixing work and stream, like the fact. But I'm glad that's over. We're good. We got some TikTok videos too. We're gonna do our 3 and maybe 4 video TikTok videos on this session. But let's first see what's going on here because every day it's been a surprise. Just joining in for the first time, this is multi-streaming to Jay's YouTube channel, as well as mine and Eva's. We are streaming to Twitter and Facebook as well for this session. Doesn't matter where you join us from. We're just happy that you are joining for this trial.
Yeah, thanks everyone for being here. Hit that like button on both streams if you're on the old YouTube.
So we will just take a brief recess.
Brief recess.
Didn't they just come back in?
They did. What do you mean a brief recess?
What are we doing? Oh, wow.
Usually brief means they're going back to discuss something in chambers. They should be right back. Usually a person in court will let me know how long this will be, so we'll know shortly.
They had their whole lunch break to discuss things.
I told you.
Seriously.
I told you last week. He's got to go get his Dunkin'. Dunkin' may have been super busy, and now he's got to run back for the 2 o'clock Dunkin' run because nobody's there.
You guys are running a really laxed court system up there. This is unheard of in Florida.
You're not kidding. When COVID hit, everything just it went to shit, and I don't think it's really come back. Connecticut was not ready. Healthcare, in terms of their laws, are not ready. The court system was not ready. I have friends that work in courts, and they just, other states are ready to go with their Zoom and their technology, and Connecticut never got there.
It might be the difference too. COVID hit and Florida really never shut down. I think we participated for about 2 weeks and said, no. Well, we can pop back to the updates here. Just to wrap that up on Adam Montgomery. So the judge may or may not split the charges. So it may or may not be 2 trials. But either way, one way or the other, trial will begin on February 6th. And if she does split them, he's going to be tried on the assault charges first. So that'll be the first trial up if they are split. And then who else do we have? Oh, Sarah Boom. That was a big talk today. So I couldn't find any updates on this. And it seems the reason was on the 12th. So is it Thursday, Friday? Her attorney filed a motion to continue. You can see right here, additional time is needed to prepare the case for this trial. They're still reviewing extensive discovery, and they've just were approved for a private investigator. So they're not going to be prepared in time. And then it says the state attorney was notified that counsel will be filing this motion and has no objection. So this looks like this is going to be continued, especially if the state attorney didn't object to a continuance. So that was slated to begin January 29th. But if this is interesting too, if you go over to the clerk's website, you can see where the motion for continuance was filed on the 12th. But it still shows the hearing set for the 29th. The judge hasn't ruled on that yet. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how it goes.
Interesting.
Inside source said they were coming back. Let me read this. No idea. Everyone's sitting in the courtroom. Each of the lawyers are at their own tables, and the judge is back. Oh. They should be resuming here.
She looks almost as cold as her heart today.
It's pretty cool. You guys have boots on the ground in the courtroom. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, before the pandemic hit, this case was as viral as Brian Koberger. This was a mom of five that just went missing, no remains found. And you have a defendant that took his own life because of issues with the bail bond system. He had listed his houses as assets, and they just didn't add up to what he was saying they were valued at. And so the court said, come back to court. It was that day that he was supposed to go back to court for this bail bond hearing based on the values. And he took his own life in the garage. And then that was January of 2020. And then what hit after that was the pandemic and everything, including my focus and everyone else's focus for a little bit there went somewhere else, right?
Picture 25. Is that correct?
Yes.
No idea what they did to back there, but I'm presuming they went back there and Judge Randolph was smoking a bowl.
Arrow at the bottom right of the photograph. Do you see that? He had to fix his bow tie.
That arrow.
Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer Coffin there. If I could just weigh in here. Hello, everyone. Listen, this is Jennifer Coffin there. When do they specifically get to the part about Papa Ratchet? Listen, this is
Another lady
Jennifer Coffin there here, and I'm gonna object solely on the basis that she seems like a narcissist.
This is Judge Randolph. Objection, goddammit.
13, State Police Exhibit 116.
I refuse to be on a stream with Jennifer Coffindoffer. I'll quit.
Was there another day that it was examined or processed?
Yes, in June.
Okay, so in the June processing, what did that entail?
We used to do spaces with Jennifer and on missing person cases. I'll do a stream with her if she says sorry for the Papa Roger incident.
Yes, that was.
My path of recovery, Jay, has brought me to forgiveness. Just come out publicly and say, I lied. I flat out lied. My source was an anonymous Twitter troll on the bathroom in a Walmart stall that had no idea what they're talking about, and I lied to you.
What was the purpose of that examination?
That was to obtain.
Missy, everybody's been blocked by Coffindoffer. It's a growing list.
And were any swabs taken?
Yes.
So what were those swabbings?
I seized swabs from the steering wheel, gear shift, I believe seat adjustment controls, things like that.
And do you recall what exhibit number those were?
Not off the top of my head, ma'am.
I may just have one moment. Don't have the box up here. Never mind.
Detective Riley wants out of there so bad. Look at him. He's like, this is enough. He's been there 2 full days now. Just let me go.
Haven't I done enough?
What more do you want from me?
I'll withdraw that, Your Honor. I don't have my file for that one. May I just have a moment?
Yes.
I don't want.
He hasn't even started cross yet. Hold on tight, buddy.
He combed his hair today. He looks a little better than he did last week. He had a long weekend to recover. He looks like a busy father of 5.
Okay, so with respect to the other vehicle that was inside the garage, the Range Rover, I'm gonna draw your attention specifically to States 9, file 15. I can take a look behind you, sir. What does that vehicle depict, please? Or I'm sorry, what does that picture depict?
That's the front of the Range Rover that was parked in the garage at 69 Wells.
Picture 2. What does that show?
That is the driver's side of the Range Rover.
And I'm gonna draw your attention actually down to and scroll in to the here where there's a pink sticky and a marking. It's a little blurry, but can you see what that depicts, sir?
I can't see, ma'am, but it's marked up in a similar manner of a swab being taken.
Do you recall what swabbing that was?
Can I take a closer look at the screen?
Yes, it would also refresh your recollection and take a look at your report.
That would be better.
If I
Maybe
made
just zoom in on the fucking thing. How could you see that? It's like, how could you see that? No one can see that.
I think it was a little on the blurry side, but why would they not? Your next slide should be a close up.
Right.
11 for ID.
Thank you.
Also, sorry for cursing.
We let him rip over here. You're good.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was like, oh, it's on my stream.
And we encourage it. I mean, YouTube does too in a way. They reverse their policies on swearing as long as it's not like a hip hop song, you know.
Nerdy really doesn't. I should say that I do. I'm the potty mouth. I just let them drop, so there would be no censoring me, anyways.
There's no sense. I lessen my swears because of
Yes.
the issues that you sometimes go through with copyright. And is this video suitable for ads is the biggest one. But generally speaking, YouTube doesn't give you a problem about it.
Yes, that is Exhibit 61 is on the front door. And 62 is on the rear door.
And in the chat, let me know if you guys prefer that little chat window up there or if you want it removed while they're showing evidence.
Yes,
I defer to you
they
guys.
were, field tested, swabbed and collected in the same manner as the other stains in the garage.
And was that 2 swabs?
2 swabs for the evidentiary collection.
And CAM, the result?
CAM was positive.
State picture 3. What is that, sir?
That is another blood-like stain found on the Range Rover.
That's correct. There's a Range Rover left in the garage, and the SUV, as you know, was found at Waveney Park. So the Range Rover had a New York plate. Presumably her mother's borrowed from her mom.
You know what really got me earlier? I was watching when you guys were on this morning. Is the spatter underneath under the undercarriage?
Yes,
that we know about before.
It was a lot too.
Swab?
Yes, it was field tested, swabbed and collected.
And the results of the field test?
Field test was positive.
So picture 4 out of file 15, I believe. What does that picture depict, sir?
So that's the Exhibit 61 I spoke about before on the front door of the, left front door of the Range Rover. And you can see the apparent spatter pattern that the stain was collected out of.
And same questions with respect to the seizing of it as an exhibit, please.
Yeah, so that was field tested. It was field tested positive, and then it was collected in the usual manner.
And that's 2 swabbings?
2 swabbings, correct.
Thank you. Picture 5.
That's a blood-like stain found on the left rear door of the Range Rover. And that was field tested. It was KM positive, and it was collected with 2 swabs.
Michelle was not at the scene in New Canaan. Here, she was back an hour and 20 minutes back in Farmington. So they're showing the Range Rover that was here at Jennifer's house. Presumably what we're seeing is blood splatter from when Photostudios was lying in wait and then took her life. The medical examiner said there was enough blood there and in the red Tacoma to consider her deceased.
Was a a swabbing, or 2 swabbings collected from that stain that the arrow was pointing to. And exhibit 69 is a sample of the blood-like stain that was found below it. Both items were field tested. They field tested positive, and both were collected in the usual manner, 2 swabs.
Picture 7.
That is a photo of State Police Exhibit 63. The location of which escapes me, ma'am.
If you could refer to your exhibit report, please. Which for the record is states 11 Friday.
Okay, that stain is on the left rear fender of the Range Rover. It was also field tested positive with the KM test. It was collected with 2 swabs in the usual manner.
Picture 8.
Okay, so 8 is a latent print taken from the Range Rover. Latent print number 9, exhibit 93. If I could double check the location.
If you could refer to your report, please.
Somebody mentioned the Phil. That's Phil from Twitter mentions ugly wheels in the Range Rover. I'm not a big fan of Range Rovers. They're expensive to maintain, but
Latent print number
this is
9
another Range Rover that
from the
was in the garage on Mountain Spring, same property where warrants
Just with respect to
list
the
Michelle and photos cleaning up crime of Jennifer Dulos, but this is the Range Rover that was not used.
So
I
this
mean,
print, again, once it was
it
developed,
ran over Fotis
and
Dulos'
marked,
mom, I guess is the
photographed,
best way to say it.
take, he's asked to do
Allegedly, he was overseas doing his thing,
probably in
and
this case,
this Range Rover
used a
backed
gelatin
into his
lifter.
mother, killing her.
It's a thin layer of gelatin on top of a rubber backing. It kind of molds better to the curves of the car.
Wasn't that like the day before Jennifer was about to give birth or something, or was close to it?
It was close to it, yeah.
That is a photo of exhibit 58.
I mean, if anything, it just speaks volumes for anyone that's in true crime. When you're looking for something, or you're looking for a vehicle used in a crime. This guy used altered plates. He had so many different cars, including a borrowed car from an employee. He had the Raptor. He had that Suburban. He had another pickup truck. He was taking car seats from a Porsche and putting them in the red Tacoma. And then to add to that, the black Suburban, I've always assumed he put those altered plates on that black Suburban, because you're going to put altered plates on the car at the most precarious spot of your crime, right? If there's a body in there and a cam picks me up, well, that wasn't my car. That's the wrong plate, right? And it's always coming into question. They found those tags thrown away in gutters in Hartford, and but it's added to the confusion with, I'm sure, for police with all these vehicles and whatnot. It's confused us.
Spatter found up here, probably placed there by the photographers.
Did you take any samples or swabbings, I should say, for anything above the?
Yeah, and last week when we had defense diaries on, there wasn't much evidence that they were showing. They're definitely getting a little heavier into the evidence side. We're seeing a lot of blood splatter. You're talking about the side of the car, underneath the car. That's a lot of blood.
So with respect to the
Yeah, we didn't even know that there was this much spatter and this much blood in the garage or on the car or under the car. Now they're showing the front of the car. The original warrant had just a couple of pictures with a couple of drops of blood. This is kind of mind blowing, honestly, that there was this much blood left behind.
Did you include that as the entire any of the blood spatter?
I'm sorry, can I refer to my exhibit report?
If you can.
Yeah, even when they showed the officer who first showed up there with the body cam, they mentioned it, but they didn't seem to make it like it was that much. I can't believe it's this much. But then again, they thought it was a missing persons. They weren't like.
Our mod Irina asked a good question, and thank you to the mod today on both sides managing this. It's a lot. were there scratches on his hand? Keep in mind, this happened on May, she went missing May 24th. He wasn't arrested alongside Michelle Troconis for tampering with evidence until June 1st. We haven't seen any of those arrest photos besides a mugshot, right? We don't know if there were scratches on his hand. But what we do know and what people have noticed, his head was shaved, right? That screams premeditation.
Just to be clear, there was not swabbed in this.
I did not swab this.
Okay, and it was not tested or it was tested?
I believe,
Objection.
I'm just asking to
Well,
clarify, Your Honor.
The question is, was this swabbed or was it not swabbed? And the response was going to be, I believe. Well, there can be a follow-up question. Court will overrule the objection.
I can't say for sure.
And with respect to any testing on it, do you recall if there was any testing on Exhibit 58?
Nothing beyond photography.
We on to photograph 11. What does this depict?
That is more blood-like stains on the grill of the Range Rover.
A little less than a gallon of blood. That's a lot of blood.
And picture 12.
That is another photo of the blood-like stains on the left rear door of the Range Rover.
And what about?
Don't forget, there is evidence that police retrieved from Hartford that they saw him throwing away, and some stuff that they weren't able to retrieve. But that evidence also was soaked in blood, presumably.
You can see in this road grime here, salt, dirt. You can kind of see like a swipe mark through there.
Thank you, Bobby, for becoming a member. There's really nothing to offer on the membership side. You're just supporting us. I rarely put out videos. Sometimes I do. I don't know. We're doing our best here, Bobby, but thank you.
Now, with respect to the Range Rover, was there also a additional processing?
Yes, we process this in our usual manner of processing a vehicle.
And I'm going to show you what's marked.
Before we proceed, Attorney Manning, it may be more advantageous for the record if there was a better description of wheel.
Oh.
Is it tire? Is it rim?
That's true. Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, if you could just describe what you see in the photograph, please. This is States 13.
Sure. When I refer to the wheel, it's really the rim, not the rubber tire. So I'm looking at these, I'm referring to these blood-like stains inside.
For clarification, because I said this earlier, this wasn't just the Stanford State's Attorney, Jay. It was Connecticut Chief State's Attorney that was outed and that was in charge of this case. So it was a pretty big deal in Connecticut when that unfolded, because you'll see the original footage was that Connecticut State Attorney at these hearings prosecuting, and then he was outed. And I think this is, and there, you see sort of it looks like a pretty new prosecution team. I mean, not just new on like this case, but new like altogether, like trial wise, right?
Right, and coming into a case with so much going on.
View of the undercarriage seen while the vehicle was up on the lift.
To me, that they have other options here, right? I mean, if he was the Connecticut's Chief State's Attorney prosecuting, there's been a chief attorney to replace him. They had options here. That tells me, and I may be wrong, that tells me that their evidence is so freaking strong, it doesn't matter who tries this case, right? I mean, right. I may be off, but that kind of speaks volumes to me about the evidence and the witnesses here.
That makes sense.
The lower area of the Range Rover is item D. Again, this was scraped into a paper fold, designated as item D, and later the area was swapped.
Nerdy kind of touched on this on Friday too. This is all right now, because she wasn't present for the actual murder that took place in the garage. This is all what photos did. So they're going through this meticulously to establish that there was actually a murder before they get into proving that she committed a conspiracy to murder.
By the arrow,
And the way defense Dyers explained it last week, Connecticut doesn't care who did it, right? You could be a passenger in the car while somebody's robbing a store and they kill someone, and you're going to get charged the same. And that's what's occurring here. Michelle Troconis, Kent Mauheny, both charged with conspiracy to murder. Michelle Troconis charged with tampering with evidence. And I think that's an important distinction, because even if they failed all the way here on conspiring to murder, tampering with evidence carries some weight, right? And so they have there's separate charges here that she's going to be held accountable, and that a jury has to find her guilty or not guilty on those charges. So I'm not sure anyone could see this and with what they're presenting say, yes, this is Jennifer's blood. I'm curious to see if Doulis's DNA was found, right? We don't know that yet. But how is she going to defend throwing out shit in Hartford that's covered and soaked in blood, right? So even if they completely missed on the conspiracy to murder, they have her clear as day there on camera in the car helping toss out evidence. So
Thank you, Bobby.
It really is clear as day. Those cameras are no joke in Connecticut with it.
they have cameras on the Merritt Express Parkway along there, rest stops, Route 15, 84. And people are asking accessory. No, this was premeditated from what the state is saying. And you can see why, right? We looked at things like the alibi letter earlier. This is what they wrote down to make sure they had an alibi piece by piece throughout their day to say to police, look, at 8:30, I was cooking an omelet. Who the fuck writes that down? Who writes down I cooked an omelet? I mean, unless you have Alzheimer's or, it just doesn't smoke a lot of weed. I don't know, but this is a home run from my purview.
Exhibit 370.
Yes.
What was that swabbing of?
That was a swabbing of the steering wheel. And that
It's appreciated, Bobby. Thank you.
And are you utilizing a report to refresh your recollection on this?
yes.
Okay. Exhibit 371.
371, again, 4 swabbings from the steering wheel. These were from the areas with visible blood stains. The item before that, 370, was taken from unstained areas or apparent unstained areas.
Attorney Manning in the court heard that there was a third processing in September 2019, and counsel made reference to a processing in October.
If I may inquire of Detective Riley, Your Honor, is there another processing in September?
No, the processing where we took the extra swabs was actually, the proper date was October 18th.
Thank you.
I apologize.
And
I didn't want to say anything, Bobby, but yeah, if you don't follow Bobby on Twitter. He is fantastic, along a number of other people that do their best effort to deliver timely news and breaking news. And yeah, we've spoken to Bobby. I told you, we're making big boy moves. We have Nerdbird Media, where we occasionally write stuff as we're interested, but we've offered an extended offer to Bobby to come help with that on breaking news. And get involved in a more meaningful way this year. We made resolutions without making resolutions, but you see it in action here. And that's also part of my low carb fiasco with all the sugar at the end of the day. I didn't commit to the sugar, but it's just my body craves it, Jay. I need it.
I get it. You gotta tell me.
4 was swabs taken from the rear view mirror.
Bobby's definitely a good follow over on Twitter. He is with the quickness with breaking news. Like he knows, he's psychic. I'm convinced.
if I may have one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Oh, it's over.
He's so relieved. Just let me get through this next part.
Schoenberg coming up, right?
Schoenhorn. We were pronouncing it wrong.
I'm gonna always call him Schoenborn. I don't care. Schoenborn.
Shoehorn?
Remind me at one point during this long trial to pull up that we found his Instagram during this when it was going down, and he like posted on somebody. This woman had a gag ball in her mouth, and he was completely confused as to what it was. And I have his Instagram post.
Let me ask you a few questions. Let's start with this presumptive testing that we've talked a lot about here. It's my understanding, as you testified, that when we're talking about these chemical presumptive tests, there are at least two that you talked about today, right?
Yes.
The first was called
I'm going to crank up the volume and listen because I think this is what people have been waiting for was the cross. So.
Yes.
And the second one was something called luminol, right?
Yes.
And Castlemeyer, you said, is made up of two chemicals. One is phenolphthalein, right?
Yes.
And the other is hydrogen peroxide, right?
Yes.
Now, phenolphthalein is the stuff that they use to test swimming pools for chlorine, right? Isn't that the same stuff?
I don't know, sir.
So you're not an expert in science. You're not a chemist or anything like that, right?
No.
So when you said you had some training in it, you were trained in how to administer it, right?
Yes.
You don't know anything about the chemistry itself and why something shows pink or glows or changes color at all, right?
That's correct.
And the training, you said you also received from the lab some kind of like a kit in order to administer it, right?
Yes.
And phenolphthalein is a liquid, isn't it?
Yes.
And so is hydrogen peroxide, correct?
Yes.
Now, hydrogen peroxide, that's the same chemical that you use maybe if you have an infection, maybe to disinfect, right?
Yes.
And I guess some people might even use it to bleach their hair, right? In the day, right? Isn't there people have peroxide hair where they really white bleach blonde? Is that the same stuff?
I'm not sure, sir.
Okay. But in any event, you also said that there are things when you talk
Said
about
you're no chemist, are you?
right? You're trying to see if there's a place that you're going to do some swabbing or photography, right?
For the Castlemeyer,
Yeah.
it's more, we do our searches visually.
Okay, so you see something that looks like a stain, right? You maybe do a little chemical wipe with the KM, right?
Or conduct the KM test, correct?
You do a KM test, and if it comes back negative, do you still take a picture of it?
Sometimes.
So we saw a couple of those. You tested a stain on the floor of the garage, and it didn't even come up with a presumptive test, right?
Right.
But in any event, if it comes up presumptive, one of the things you indicated that it's presumptive for is blood, right?
Well, the test, it's presumptive for blood.
That's what I mean. The test is presumptive for blood by putting the two chemicals together with the sample, right?
Yes.
And you did mention a couple of things that it also is presumptive for, right?
Yes.
Animal blood is one.
Yes.
And of course, there's all sorts of animals, right?
Yes.
Doesn't distinguish between one animal or another, does it?
No.
I think you also mentioned horseradish is something that it tests positive for.
That's one of the classical examples.
Okay. Now, are you familiar with some of the other things that it tests positive for?
I'm familiar with turmeric.
Turmeric, right? Now, doesn't it also test positive for tomato?
I don't know.
What about rust, iron rust?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
How about bleach? Do you know about that?
No.
How about copper?
No.
You don't know? Is that what you're saying? Whether it'll show a presumptive positive for copper? Like iodized copper?
I don't think so, sir.
How about malt, like you find in either beer or a milkshake?
That I don't know either.
Aren't there, in fact, 16 different food groups that test positive using Castlemeyer?
I don't know, sir.
We'd have to have somebody who's like a scientist that knows this to really answer those questions, right?
Yes.
But if we're talking about a presumptive test, if you wanted to be presumptive about the presence of horseradish, this would be the test to use, right?
I would need to presume something was horseradish, sir.
Well, the presumptive test is not what you think, it's whether it turns pink, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm following your question, sir. I mean, it does react in a positive manner with horseradish.
So I'm saying if I wanted to presume that a stain on my kitchen cabinet is horseradish, I might use this test, right?
If you really wanted to.
Exactly. And so let's say a, I don't know, spilled
Marty.
hamburger juice. That would test positive, right?
For those not acclimated with New England and Stop and Shop. Do you remember when it was called Super Stop and Shop at one point, Jay?
Yes,
They had Super Stop and Shops. Thank God. Everyone's been thinking I was like crazy. There's a point where they did 24/7 and it was Super Stop and Shop. But anyway, Stop and Shop has this robot here called Marty.
If you had an injured mouse, yes.
And Michelle Troconis took a picture with Marty on the day of Jennifer Dulos's
I
murder.
would also agree, would you not, that you would need a confirmatory test done by a lab to see whether the presumption or assumption turned out to be correct, right?
Yes.
And you know that in your, never mind this case, but in your experience, some of the things that you show a positive presumptive test turn out not to be blood at all, correct?
I've never had that experience.
Well, you don't do the actual testing, do you?
No, I mean, when I learn of the results, I've never had that experience.
So you don't know that in this case, that was in fact, several of these items turned out not to have any evidence of blood in it?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You didn't even test all of the spots that we just saw pictures of, did you?
Me personally, no,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Let me ask you a few questions about luminol. We saw some pictures in the back of the Suburban, right? Including a couple in the dark where you see this little purple glow, right?
Blue glow.
Objection. This is Judge Randolph.
Those were-
Objection, goddammit.
Those photographs were taken with a time-lapse photography, right?
Yes.
So they appeared brighter than they might with the naked eye, correct?
I can't say for sure, sir.
And you use that in order just to choose where you might take another spot, right?
Yes.
Now, you said that luminol tests for the presence of iron, right?
Yes.
So you know that a car is made out of steel, or most of them are, right?
Yes, it is.
And steel is an iron alloy, is it not?
It is.
So it would stand to reason that in a motor vehicle, there might be some exposed metal places that might test positive using luminol, right?
Correct.
Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer
wanted to,
Coffin Derfat. If I could just weigh in here. Jennifer Coffin Derfat here, and I'm gonna object solely on the basis that she seems like a narcissist.
Right, but it would glow on even the non-rusted parts because you're in a car, right?
Yes.
And if you're talking about, let's say, a car where there are children that have been passengers in that car, there might be all sorts of other things. That
Feel free to make requests for celebrity voices. We can replicate them all. So if you feel there's a better voice to go with, we'd be happy. We have a long 5 weeks left here.
You know, a lot of root vegetables have iron in them, right?
No.
You do know that.
I do know.
And it's
Root vegetables have a lot of iron in them.
Am I right?
I'm gonna object, Your Honor.
Well, the question's not relevant.
If you wanted to see if
You got to find one that sounds like Shoehorn.
the car, you might lose.
Judge Randolph is dying inside.
Objection.
Well,
Irrelevance, and I assume it's facts, not in evidence.
well, the line of the cross-examination is a number of substances or fruits or vegetables contain iron. This is just an extension of that line overruled.
All right.
I think you'd be able to see a turnip. and wouldn't.
This judge has been fair to both the state and defense. I feel like he's the perfect judge for this case.
He's been very good.
Leach also will glow in luminol, won't it?
Yes.
you already mentioned horseradish for K&M. This would also test positive in luminol, wouldn't it?
This guy is just trying to prove that there were vegetable spatters everywhere in the garage.
It's such a ridiculous like argument here. Like, what are you trying to prove? Who is not going to think that's blood? Come on.
No, what he's doing, and somebody just pointed it out in the chat. They hit the nail on the head. I think it was Shannon. Luminol is just a screening tool. Everything was taken back to a lab and confirmed whether or not it was blood. So all he's trying to do right now is really just put doubt into the jury's head. He's trying to just say it out loud so that they're thinking, oh, well, you know, it could be this or it could be that. We're going to get down the road, and his whole line of questioning right now and trying to manipulate the jury's head a little bit is not going to matter because everything was tested in a lab. We're going to see the evidence later on, lab reports saying, yes, this was for sure blood, or hey, maybe one of them was horseradish, but I'm positive it's all going to come back for blood.
A lot of these photographs that we've seen were various angles of the very same spots that you tested, isn't that right?
Yes.
So just by looking at these photographs, you have to look very carefully to see whether or not 3, 4, or maybe even 5 photographs.
Yeah, thank you, both sides. Like we said at the beginning and this morning, we don't care what side you join, what platform you join. We're just happy you're here. Thank you for gifts to both Jay. It's what every content creator should want, is other content creators to succeed. So it makes me happy seeing these gifts across the channel for Jay. Hit that like button for his video and ours. We're doing a dual stream. We may even do a triple stream. We may get Defense Diaries on here later this week for a triple stream or next week. This is the first time we've done dual streams, so this is exciting. We can see chats from both sides, but thank you for the love. For either side, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, seriously, thank you so much for all the gifts and everything. You guys are amazing. You could do a triple. That's crazy.
We're gonna test it. I sent the guest link to Defense. I know he has a busy day, but if he sees it, we may be able to test it out at the latter end of this, but if not, another day. But yeah, so anyone who uses this same platform can then join in and then restream, and so I think we could get 3 of these going.
That's cool.
It uses inches and feet, right?
Yes.
I want to ask you a few questions about the paper towels in the kitchen. And the first thing I want to do is call up one of the pictures that was on the exhibit that was introduced through you. And if I could have 8-139. For your edification, this is the image where you put the state police exhibit number 13 on. If you would look at that screen behind you, sir, you see that image there?
Yes.
And I think you testified that this was the paper towel.
We've moved on from vegetables to paper towels now.
A test on it as well, right?
Yes.
And you seized the whole thing or just a portion of it?
The whole thing, sir.
When you came into the house that day, this would be the 25th, correct?
Yes.
Was this exactly when you went in the location where you found this paper towel roll?
Not the exact location, no.
It was moved around?
It was in that general same corner of the sink, sir.
Did you move it so that somebody could take a better picture?
No, I moved it so I can examine it and field test it.
When this picture was taken and you put that yellow tab next to it, is that the location you found it in before you moved it and examined?
No, I don't believe so, sir.
Where was it when you first observed it, if you can just point it out on this photograph?
I mean, if she could figure out how to get reliable audio
So when you say
and proper video,
was it off
consider
the,
it. And
roller?
she has to apologize for lying.
The metal device that the paper towel roll is standing next to?
I believe so, but I'm not sure, sir.
Did you observe anyone else move it? Take it off?
No.
And just so that we're talking about the same thing, right?
Isn't he already retired? Is this the same one that retired?
I think so.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I think he was.
You recall seeing that there, right?
Yes.
But when you got there, that paper towel roll was not on that device, the dispenser roll.
I think they were separate, but I'm not sure.
Stupid question, maybe, but does Michelle even have to be here for her trial? Like, if she's got attorneys, does she have to sit there every day?
Seeing someone physically remove it?
Objection.
Not a stupid question.
The response was
That's a good question. I don't think she has to be, but I could be wrong.
I think for trials, usually you do have to be present. I think most of the pre-trial stuff, like the conferences and status hearings, maybe that's, we were talking about that earlier. Maybe that's why Adam Montgomery didn't have to be there, but it seems like he just flat out refused to come. But it's my understanding that you have to be present for the actual trial.
No.
Could vary by state too, so I don't know. Well, it's a good question to defer to Bob maybe at some point. But if it was me and I had a 6-week trial and like the rest of my life pretty much had jail hanging over my head, I'd be out enjoying those 6 weeks if the judge let me. Like, I already paid the attorneys. I'll tune in via YouTube. If there's something I need to say to my attorney, I can listen to it. Plenty of stations are tuned in, and I'd be out jet skiing and living my best life before they put me back in jail.
Just let me know how it pans out, guys. I'll catch you at the verdict.
People are chiming in that in Connecticut, at least, that criminal, you have to be there. So,
Prudence.
but Eva is correct in pretrial and everything after the arraignment. If you have an attorney, generally speaking, if you have an attorney and they're representing you, unless the judge is requiring it or it's an important hearing, generally speaking, you don't have to be there. GPS ankle monitor at one point for the house arrest part, and then it was taken off. There's been multiple back and forths on both Ken and Michelle. At some point, it was taken off so she could go and be with family, and you could see her social media. It looks like she's been traveling. So originally, maybe house arrest with that ankle monitor, but and work stuff with the ankle monitor. But aside from that, at some point, her attorneys filed motions, and it was taken off.
Before we show you the image.
It may have been still, but like I said, there's been back and forth between Kent and her, and motions filed for no good reason. Kent Mauhiny, however you feel about him, we saw that GPS ankle monitor and it just looked like wear and tear. Like, I don't know what the state was doing, but he was out visiting his sick father in Florida and living his life, waiting for trial, and all of a sudden he was pulled back in, and they said you were tampering with your anklet.
Yes.
Did he do that, at least the overview, before you got to work making any examples, any swabs or anything like that, taking?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to show you.
And as of April 6th, 2023, that was when they filed more motions in court, and she had the ankle monitor removed. So that was April of last year.
So I'm going to show you one screenshot called screenshot. We just put that up.
I can't believe they would remove her ankle monitor, to be honest.
Now, looking at the video screenshot that I've just put up here.
Yeah, there's been portions of this case, right, because Eva's in Florida. I'm from originally from Connecticut, and the nuances in how the legal system differs becomes quite apparent as we talk. And both of these, Fotis was out. I mean, he was, everything that they're talking about here is what they allege Fotis Doulos did. It's clear that Michelle Troconis made an alibi to prove that she was in Farmington. So just take Fotis Doulos aside. He bonded out the first time he was given bond for tampering with evidence. He bonded out the second time he was arrested. And then the third time when they brought him back in and said, look, you may have not made the amount on your assets. Was it when he took his own life and left a note behind? It's wild. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that that offense, you should be out free and walking. On many other states, that offense alone would keep you behind bars until trial.
Do you recall looking in the pantry at in that kitchen, between the kitchen and the mudroom?
Between the mudroom and the dining room, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So if you would just put up that image, this is also from the same exhibit. Do you recall that this was the view of that pantry when you looked at it?
Yeah, international ties is right, because I was explaining to you, Eva, they did water skiing at an international level competitively. Photos Doulos, Michelle Troconis, and Photos Doulos was really pushing his kids to do the same. It's something that Jennifer Doulos had written about. He was pushing the kids too hard from her purview, but they had international ties, right? Photos had passports for Greece, Michelle Troconis, Argentina, Venezuela. They were travelers, and so people are surprised that they were allowed bail at all based on that.
Somebody asked us, did Michelle have money? You told me her family was pretty well off, correct?
Yeah, her family seems well off. I mean, they've had good representation from the beginning. No public defenders. Looks like their homes are in order. She was working alongside Fotis. I think someone asked earlier, my memory was jogged. I think she was doing like the marketing aspect, the social media aspect of the Four Group. So if a picture of a house needed to go up on Instagram, that was her sort of job alongside selling clothing. So, but I think her family has money.
See, that's why it kind of boggles my mind that they would take the ankle monitor off. And that's something that's honestly, it's taken into consideration here in Florida, is whether or not somebody has the means to leave the state or leave the country. That Donna Adelson sitting in jail right now. that's a great example. She tried to leave the country.
And Shannon Gardner Fernandez, right? Same circumstances.
Yep.
They come from money too. Yeah.
Donna booked that one-way ticket to Vietnam. Not suspect at all.
I'm going to show you an image.
She really screwed herself with that. A judge here in Florida, I guarantee you, is not going to let her out before her trial starts.
So dumb.
From the New Canaan Police Department on the evening of May 24th, 2019. All right, so we could have that. Now, I don't know if you don't recognize the New Canaan police officer that's seen in this image, do you?
No.
And I'll just note the time is indicated at 5:24:19 at 19:57 and 33. This is from State's Exhibit 1, I believe, which was the video that was from the body camera of one of the patrol officers that was there that night. Okay.
Okay.
So again, I'm just going to ask you to note.
Okay.
This is Judge Randolph. Objection, goddammit. Jay, this is Judge Randolph. Did you fall asleep on us?
I don't remember.
Now, I'm also going to show you two other images. I think they're also from this exhibit. X8, please. It's image 0064 from that exhibit. Do you recall seeing any of the items that are indicated here during your investigation on May 25th, 2019 inside the home?
Specific items?
Any specific items in the pantry that we're seeing here?
No.
I'll show you the next picture, please, which is it's image 0065, or I'm just calling it X21 for my. Does this particular roll, did you observe this roll of paper towel in the pantry at Wells Lane when you were there collecting evidence?
I don't remember that.
I'm going to show you a couple of pictures from the.
I think Judge in Idaho will have widgets and shit on his stream, Jay. when they go live?
He's gonna be telling to smash that like button, and yeah, like super chat's gonna come in on the screen.
From your
It's going to be Liddy.
Sorry, I'll just have a moment.
9.
The
No.
the large disc, what do you- No, the one that we put in yesterday. That.
Yes.
It is 9. Okay.
9.
Sure. I'm going to show you some images from Exhibit 9, if I may. And the first exhibit I want to ask you about is marked on your Exhibit 9 is 12-362. If that, we could have that up on the screen, please. You recall this is the exhibit that you marked as A16, or somebody marked as A16, correct?
I don't think that was an exhibit. I think that was just for documentation purposes.
All right, so let me also get that clarification. If there's a yellow placard, then it was seized as some kind of an exhibit for your purposes of your investigation. Is that correct?
Or it was marked on a similar label with EX, whatever.
So the A letter, was that your writing on this document, on this image?
No.
This would be something that whichever detective was placing these markers down would have noted. Is that right?
Yes.
And I asked you this when we were first putting some of these pictures up. If we look at this image here, when you saw this particular marker, did you note the marking on the sticker itself?
No, I didn't note it.
You did not?
No.
Okay. So you don't know how that got there?
Specifically, no.
Okay. I'm going to show you another image. This one is 13-363. It's in the same series. And this is also one of the images that you testified to yesterday, correct?
Yes.
And I'm asking you specifically about the mark on the middle of this document here. Was that present when you were examining that particular spot on the ground?
I don't remember it.
You don't recall seeing that?
No.
And you also testified, if I'm not mistaken, that there was also a fair amount of, you called it vegetative matter, seeds or leaves and whatnot on this garage floor, correct?
Yes.
And did you gather any of those?
No.
Show you one more in this series. This would be 14-157. Once again, I'm just going to ask you whether or not you recognize or saw this item on the placard when you were looking at this particular location of it.
I don't recall it being there.
And when you talk about other items, whatnot, seeds and whatnot on the floor, are we talking about, if we look at this picture, are we talking about all of these other specific items, dots and whatnot that we see on the cement floor in a close-up? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
There are also some larger leaves, correct?
Larger leaves,
Well-
stones, sand, things like that.
Sand, what else?
Small stones.
Before you
All
proceed-
just on what you might expect to find on a garage floor.
Before you proceed, counsel, the court needs to clarify something that is quite subtle. Detective Riley, on the previous photograph, you indicated you did not remember whether you saw that spot on the measuring marker, correct?
That's what I said, yes, Your
But
Honor.
then you said, I don't recall seeing it. Now, it may sound.
Stony
the
face,
same,
Michelle
subtle
Troconis,
difference.
Daily Mail.
I don't remember whether I saw it. To this court means I don't remember whether it was there or not. I don't recall seeing it means in this court view, I don't remember that it was there. Which one is it?
It was the former. I did not take note of it, Your Honor.
Thank you.
With regard to the search of the Chevy, you said that you were sent back to take additional samples in October of 2019. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And as I understand from your testimony, it was from additional samples of the steering wheel?
Yes.
From the interior of the left front door?
Yes.
From the front seat adjustment control?
Yes.
From the rear view mirror?
Yes.
Should take a poll or bet
From the
on
cargo area?
what time y'all think they're going to adjourn today. It's going to be 3:30, 4, 5 p.m. What time, Jay?
4:45. I'm sticking with the sketch.
All right.
Places, or did you take them from the rear seat controls in the
Unless they end with this witness.
I think they're going to hop out of there at 4:30, 4:45.
I remember the rear seat controls were in the cargo area.
Icy,
Because the back seat, the second
snow,
row seats were not up,
bad
they
weather.
were down. Is
I
that
think
why you entered that?
Judge Randolph's going to call quits at 4.
Good
You were
call.
sent back to do additional swabs because the first set didn't produce any information of value. Is that true?
Objection.
Well, the question is, you were sent back to take additional swabs because the first set didn't yield.
I don't know. I've watched other trials, right? And I just feel like Judge Randolph is like, it's almost just like a college, like 101. Like he's like sort of like leading her to like why. I don't know. This is weird.
He's definitely on top of everything too. Sometimes you'll see judges like writing stuff, or he's like fully focused, 100% on this.
He's on it, yeah.
Yeah, he actually, I thought that was interesting just a minute ago when he stopped before either attorney objected and said, you know, the court needs to specify this. He wants the wording to the T, which is really good at the end of this when, you know, nobody's going to go back and try and appeal because of this or that or some technicality.
But he's making sure the wording is not correct for the public because he doesn't care about us. But for the DA and the defense, he's been pretty supportive in making sure that they're adhering to what they should be, but also really explaining stuff in like a thorough way that I haven't seen elsewhere. Maybe you guys have followed these trials more, but he seems to be really patient with. Honestly, both sides haven't really wowed me. The state hasn't wowed me, and this is coming from someone who believes Michelle Troconis is guilty. And the defense, they've had their moments where they've blundered. I think defense diary said it. I think everyone's getting into the swing of things, and I think that it'll obviously pick up a swing in volume and a tempo as it goes, but that tempo hasn't been achieved yet.
I don't know if I did personally, but that's the usual process.
All right. Well, let me just, I skipped a step, all right? So you gathered it, and it was then sent into evidence, right?
Yes.
And then at some point, that was done for the purpose of at some point having it.
Yeah, Jay, if you feel like you need to add some sound bits here like you normally do, feel free. This is your stream too, so.
I don't think I can't play my sound, but I mean, like,
Purpose of collecting.
I don't think I can, right? Or can I?
I think Donna said she missed your sound bites, so yeah, I thought maybe you had the ability to do them on your end. We're gonna have to next time we do it, you're gonna have to send me some sound bites so your viewers can have it.
Yeah, I was saying when we have like boring stuff, I play. I was telling Eva I play from Billy Madison where he's like chlorophyll, more like borophyll. So I play that a lot during these boring moments.
Test positive for. Should we call that line of questioning?
Yes.
I'll have to record that in the Morgan Freeman voice for you.
Question for do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. In the garage floor, did you find any evidence of radishes anywhere?
No.
Okay, what about
Did you find evidence of radishes anywhere? Cheeseburgers. Wow.
what about on the undercarriage of the Chevy Suburban? Did you find any cheeseburgers or radishes there?
This is awesome. Good for her.
Oh
Ooh,
my god.
she got real spicy. The tempo may have just picked up.
Turmeric. Any bottles of turmeric or turmeric sources on the floor of the garage?
No, ma'am.
The Land Rover?
No,
The Chevy Suburban?
no.
All right. With respect to the cargo area of the Chevy Suburban, did you find any evidence of car seats? Any evidence that children were sitting in the trunk area?
In the back? No, ma'am.
With respect to that cargo area, did you see a lot of exposed steel in rust areas?
No.
The radishes are innocent.
With respect to, actually, that's all I have. Thank you.
Just a couple of questions. In any of those areas, starting at the garage, do you find evidence of rust stains?
Not that I remember, sir.
Do you notice it whether or not under the undercarriage of the vehicle there was some rust?
Yes.
No further questions.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Detective Riley, you may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The time is now 3:10.
Comments are killing me right now.
Yeah.
Judge, we do
Well-
have to take up a couple of matters
Correct.
in advance.
So what the court is going to do is allow the jury to take the afternoon recess now. Well, how long do you anticipate your argument on the matter that we have to take?
Never trust an attorney for how long, like I say.
So we'll allow the recess now. It may be that the recess, ladies and gentlemen, will be a little more extended than usual. We hope you're not disappointed. We'll stand in our afternoon recess.
How long did he say they were taking off for you?
He just extended. I don't know if he gave it time. I think they normally go 3:15 to 3:30, but I think he's telling them it might be longer than 3:30, but I could be wrong.
Try to get clarity from the person inside the court, and once we have a time, shall we reconvene? Is it going to be the last session of the day? You think we get Duncan and come back?
I would think so.
Yeah, he said it's the 15-minute recess, but it's going to be a little extended. He didn't say how long though. He might come back. Didn't they do that Friday or was it Thursday? They came back and they're just like, "Oh, we're going to call it." They might get out early today.
Extended recess.
By the way, folks,
Turn your video on. Hold on. I snuck out. You hear Bodie barking. I had the kids. The kids were sneaking behind Eva to say hi, but she thought something was going down. Hold on. I told the kids to go out back and sneak. I don't know if you can see them through the window, but if anyone ever wanted to stream snipe, I have a view out that way to see what's coming. But anyway, sorry, Eva, I interrupted. I scared Eva. She thought something was going down because Bodie's birthday's coming up, our adopted dog. He did not speak at all for like the first 8 months. And all of a sudden he's gained his confidence and he does this little, you hear him in the background. He does not like visitors anymore. This is his family.
You just scared the shit out of me with that, and I was so confused of what was going on. I look like an idiot.
I told your oldest to take all of them out there and wave. They could be on YouTube, and they all collectively went out there and tried saying hi.
You're an asshole for that.
All right, we will reconvene. They cleared the courtroom from the person inside the Stanford courtroom. Bodie, you can relax. It's okay, relax. We'll be back, Jay. Thank you for joining. We're going to multi-stream again, and it'll down here.